Okay, it is going. Hello, this is Toradoragonjin 99, and I guess I'm coming back with this. Something else from Avataro Sentai Dawn Brothers, which I finally started watching, the Toradoragonjin. Now, I haven't gotten far enough to understand what these two are about, but I pretty much know what the first five Rangers are about now, so at least I have that going for me, if nothing else. Okay. At first, I wasn't going to get these two because I wasn't like the biggest fan of like the big combined form and these guys, but when I realized a combination I actually liked, which is the one with the Phoenix, the big Kiwami form was going to include everything, I'm like, well, then I guess I need to get these guys. And I'm gonna try to save up a teeny bit more for the Phoenix, but I had enough to pick up this guy as well, and honestly, he's a lot better in person than he is online. It's pretty much my explanation for for doing this now. Plus, I didn't know what else I wanted to do yet. I was like still weighing my options on a few things, but I'm like, well, I have these guys now. I'll just get this out of my system while I still have them fresh in my head. All right. First two, the new guys here are Don Robobolt, who's essentially a tiger. He has no tail, which made me think he was more of like a lynx at first, but no, he's not. He actually does have a few points of articulation. He can do that. He can bend his legs in and out a bit, move his head. That's mostly for transformation, though. And even his back legs move, which, almost every point of articulation is transformation based except his mouth. And I don't know if they're trying to like simulate this as his tail and that he has three tails, but it's not really the feeling I got with him personally. Either way, yeah, Don Robobolt here is nice, and he reminds me of Metal Garurumon from Digimon, like almost exclusively. It's kind of crazy. Again, Toei deals with both Digimon and Super Sentai, so borrowing elements from each other is kind of an obvious thing. Alright, and Don Robo Goku here, he's insanely long. Like, longer than I'm accustomed to using. And honestly, this guy was part of the reason I didn't want to get it at first. Like, I did like him a little bit, but how long this guy was made him feel like really cumbersome and nutso, but the transformation is a lot better when you actually do it. In articulation, he can move his legs a little bit forward, a little bit back. He can move them from side to side. I don't really see the use of that. And you can also move his, front legs forward if you need to. And this thing is just kind of sitting up here, though. I do not know what that's about. And Don Robo Goku, I think Toei also has a bunch to do with Dragon Ball as well. Is there like a hidden meaning to like the word Goku or the name Goku? I don't exactly understand. Yeah, he does kind of have the Shenron head going on, except he's golden, he's shiny in a few spots. Like there is a shiny spot like right here on his nose, and this little cage thing down here has a little bit of shininess to it. Don't know how obvious it seems, and I'm not exactly sure how well this is getting into shot. He's so freaking long. But he's nice. Yeah, he's a lot better in person than he looked on the internet for some reason. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like now that I have them in person, I like them way more than I used to. Like that's what it boiled down to. At first, it was like a solid 6 or 7. Now it's more like an 8 or 9 mostly for him, but he's more like a 6.5 now out of 10. Yeah, I don't exactly know how to describe it. Like, oh no, I'm not gonna get this unless they make something like much better later on, and they do, as far as I've been able to see. But as of right now, it's like, yeah, they're nice. They're actually a lot nicer than I thought they would be. So thumbs up on both of those dudes. And they do make up one robot together, which the references continue. Digimon, partially Dragon Ball, and now we're going into Alien with like the style of transformation. Alright. To combine them into the Toradoragonjin, you pretty much just split that off of Robobolt, and then kind of just straighten him out. Move the head down and make sure these are on a little bit of a tilt and that all the paws are pointing straight down. He's kind of like this. I do not think he can stand up like this, though. Yeah, no, he can't, so don't even try that. And he's ready to go. Dora Goku, though, he's a little bit more involved. Teeny bit. Yeah, he does kind of move at the waist there, but it doesn't really do much. You just take off his legs. Make sure you remove this little gray piece here as well from both of those arms. Let's see. There we go. And you go into the undercarriage. You have to take off this little neon helmet. That'll be used later. Remove the tail. This guy's almost completely being disassembled. It's kind of shocking. Just set that up, split those legs up, move that out of the way. Like this little point here where the tail attaches. Bit here, just make sure that's up. Well, keeping the head up, I'm gonna move this up. And stand him up like that. And these little notches in the legs, you pretty much need to move them out of the way. For Robobolt, you gotta make sure you slide him in. Might take a few attempts before he clicks in, but once you set him up right, this head pops out. And you make sure to collapse his legs into the mechanical legs. That, like a little purple head that pops up on its own. It'll do that. It's supposed to do that. And the dragon arms become the robo arms, essentially. But we have a little bit more to do. Turn around to the back. Oh, pop that out too. And make sure the gray pieces go on, that they're connected to each other in the back like so. And the neon helmet also gets strapped back here. While I'm back here, I may as well put it on. Turn him back around. I always have to open these up to make sure I'm putting them on the right side. But the side with the purple writing goes on the right arm. You gotta find the clip that makes sure it coincides. Snap that onto that one. And the other one, which has blue writing, as you can see, goes into this arm here. There's like multiple clips. It's kind of hard to find sometimes. Slap that on. And before we give him the weapons, we will put like the Dora jaws like that, and then you move both of these things to the side, and you just collapse the head down. And that, even after you throw the weapons on, this one goes here, although you can mix it up the other way if you choose to. This is the Toradoragonjin. My man here is actually pretty cool. If you can probably see what I mean by alien reference. This thing just looks like a giant dragon-themed power loader. And now that I have it in person, it is way, way better than I thought it was when I was seeing reviews of it on YouTube. Although, this thing's kind of sticking out, but they had to put it somewhere. And I think they assume that if you're getting this guy, you're also getting the Oni Taijin. Especially because the articulation on this guy is not super terribly good. I mean, yeah, you have an elbow, and you can move the shoulders around a bit. You can kind of pose the arms how you need to, but once you get them diagonal, they're locked into this position. And there's a little bit going on in the legs. You can move them forward. He's got big knee joint. It has some posing opportunity, which is good. But he can't like, pose a lot. Like, look at that. That doesn't make a ton of sense. At least to me. Yeah, you can kind of get something like that. That's a little bit neat. You can turn his hands a little bit. Once the claw goes on a hand, you can't really bend it. You can like, yeah. I don't know what you'd call that, but that is a little silly. Come on. Yeah, you get a little bit of stuff to do with him, which is, not bad. Like I thought he looked nice before, but now that I have him in person, he is way cooler. Especially with these. Don't know how well that pops up, but these sunglasses are neat. Like I love the helmet. I actually kind of like these little streaming antennas coming out. These guys are way better combined than they are separately. And even standing, excuse me, next to Don Oni Taijin here, looks even better. I usually display these two like this. This makes a lot more sense to me to have them like, next to each other. Okay, though. But if you've seen the show or you've seen the reviews, you know that these two can combine into a bigger robot. The Toradora Oni Taijin, I believe it's called. And it's simple, but you gotta do a lot of disassembly. Trust me, it gets a little nuts though. Take off the helmets, take out the Kiji peasant swords, whatever. We are gonna need this chest piece to come off. It's actually removable. It came out separated in the box. I just kind of thought they did that for packaging reasons at first. And then Kiji here, you make both halves of him, but without reattaching him back together. And finally, make sure you take out Saru's chest as well. And you kind of need to put Saru back together for this combination. It's really, really weird that they would go that way with him, but okay, and just kind of make sure he's set up like that, and his fists are like this, and he looks that he looks like that. And we just need that as a base. Toradora, kind of just completely disassemble him. We need the pieces down here off camera just to make it a little bit easier for me personally. And you close the little black bars you have back up. Remake the dragon jaw. Pop the arms off. Remove Don Robobolt like that. Pop the head back in. And put all this back in place and turn this back around. Oh, we're not supposed to do that yet. I was trying to remove the entire helmet. Remove these gray pieces. We'll get to that later. And actually snap these out. This is pretty important. And I may as well do this right now. You kind of have to get Don Robogoku's head down and make sure you snap the cage down over his head like that. And we'll do the feet first. Alright. You grab the arm pieces and you set them down. Like that. And you grab the Kiji swords. These things. Put them into the corresponding side that matches the clips. Like so. And the clips that go in. Like that. And they go into both Inu and Oni. I mean, I've seen this in other Super Sentai figures, and I actually do own the G12 now, so I guess if you want to see a video of that, I'm alright with covering the G12 line. But, yeah, those go on like that, and that's really all you do to the lower half. It's like one of my few complaints about this thing. Everything else, going to want to grab the Robogoku head, attach the gray things onto the sides like so. Just make sure the tabs are facing forward so you can put Don Onitaijin's or Don Robotaro's chest crest or whatever this is, and pop that back on. The thing sticks out incredibly far, by the way. Robobolt here. You get the... Wait. Okay, wrong clip. You get the clip with, like, the farthest... The ones on the farthest sides. Stick that on top of Robobolt. Like so. Grab the Kiji half with the Phoenix... Phoenix, he's a pheasant. Pheasant head still on it. So used to saying Phoenix. Make sure he looks like that, and the big old claw goes onto this hand like that, and this becomes his right arm. A bit annoying to stick in sometimes, though. I had that issue with Sorrow as well, so I think that's just an angle. I'm gonna turn this around just for my own sake. And the other arm is going to be much bulkier. These are Toradora's legs. Kind of snap them in half. Oh, I did skip a step though. Before you put them back together, make sure you put this little tail holder thing like that. Snap them together and bend the feet as far forward as they will go and snap them in like this. And you're going to need to bend that down. Onitaijin's helmet here gets stored inside there like so. And Saru takes up the rest of the arm. You match the clips on his feet with holes in the Toradora feet. Snap those in. He just kind of clips right in after that. You take Dora Goku's Dragon Tail, poke that in here. You take the other black bar, attach it to the clips there, and the other half of Kiji will plug on top of this. Like this. And then you poke... No, not really poke, but plug that in there. We're nearly done. Finally, the piece de resistance. You take the crest off, you put this helmet onto Robotaro like this. Then the neon lighting just kind of plugs on, and you're good. And this is Toradora Onitaijin. Oni constantly moving her head is really getting me. Toradora Onitaijin. This man is pretty big and bulky, not gonna lie. And the pose ability nearly completely goes away. Entirely. I mean, he does retain a little bit of his articulation. You can still move his waist, which is good. And I have to stand him all the way up because all this equipment really drags the top down. You can still move the arms forward. Both of them, in fact. Just don't like to do this very much because it has the risk of popping off the crest. You can still move the head. You can even do it again, 360. And this arm, as big as it is still 100% movable. Unfortunately, it does not come with the horse that I've seen the clips in the show, but what he can do, I have not seen any reviews cover this feature. What he can do, just attach the Kiji blades Swords, oh boy. Yeah, he's extremely top heavy, like entirely top heavy practically. Just gonna move that so he just balances for a moment. And then, oh come on, I've done this once. Get it on camera. But you can at least say that it can do that. Mother of pearl. Mother of pearl. Okay, that looks like it's in, and it is. Gonna adjust it so that it's going straight up and down, and you got yourself the bow and arrow thing that he does in the show. I cannot believe no one's actually shown that. At least from what I've seen. No one has actually shown that he can do this. And he can do this! Although his finishing move is him splitting up into all of his individual forms and they all rush the enemy at the same time. What the heck? Like, why has no one tried doing that? Did they think that he couldn't? Yeah, it does look really awkward and it is kind of cumbersome to set up, sure, as I've demonstrated, but I say if you can do it, you should at least show that he can do it. And he can still stand without having the Kiji swords attached to the feet, at least a little bit. Wow. That was about ready to pop off. You know what, I'm going to keep all this in because screw it. Kinda shows the downsides of this thing too. Like, that clip is not that strong. Posability really gets in the way of it. I still think it's awesome. And even when I first saw this thing, I actually did like the neon visor for it. But actually owning the thing, you know, manipulating it a bit, trying to play around with it, making sure it doesn't do anything super. And Inu's joints are kind of getting, tail joint is kind of getting ruined because of this, you know, foot combo thing. No, I think it's supposed to add stability to it, ironically enough. You know, like, okay, you can still do that, which is nice. My only real complaint about the combo has kind of been Saru just kind of being shoved in here. Like, at least with Robobolt, he is the entire arm. Here, it's just like, okay, nice place to put the helmet, fine, but what the hell is this? It's silly, yes. And it does at least allow for a bow and arrow to work, but you got this long dragon lance here. He's got like no real hands. And then you got an entire monkey or gorilla hanging off your arm. That's really, really strange. I mean, yes, you can say this is strange, sure. His entire arm is a purple tiger. Kiji's always been the shoulder pads, so I'm just used to that at this point. And I didn't realize Inu's tail joint was going to be a problem until I got this thing. Like, I don't think I've been messing with him that much to ruin it. But yeah, this thing does not like all the extra weight that Robo Goku and Robo Bolt add on to the top. Like, he's great. I love like the neon lighting design he has going on up here. There. Kiji is still kind of is just stored onto the shoulders just because, I guess. I'd rather he not be up there. Or at least he had a more important role. In the show, I saw that he let the Danoni Taijin fly. I don't think he has enough wing mass to make this thing fly, unless I just haven't seen that episode where he apparently does do that. And, okay. And the claw fits this mode more than either Robo Bolt or Toradoragonjin, which, yes, I think that's why they made that claw so freaking big. The sword is fine for any size, like any combination or mode you're using it for. This is fine. I don't really care about that too much. Like, the golden crotch protectors, like, whatever. And the dragon head being stored in here keeps all the shininess in one place, which is, again, fine. Oni and Inu have, like, no purpose still besides being the legs. Dragon feet are neat. I don't really. It's like I like it, but I can see all the issues with it, and that's why I cannot give it a perfect score. Maybe after I get the Omikoshi Phoenix, it'll be a little better in at least the foundational aspect, because I know it makes a big ol' staff that is better for the balancing of this guy. And some of the extra support would really help, especially for Inu over here. He really needs it. I'm not sure those swords actually add any extra stability to it or not. Maybe they do and I'm just an idiot, but honestly, Toradora Oni Taijin's not a bad configuration. It's just I just there's a lot that there's some things I personally have an issue with. Like, okay, I get why the articulation is crap, is because this is getting in the way. You still get the waist, you still get the legs and the knee, but you can't really pose him very much. Back when I first got him, I didn't even realize you kind of had to stand these two straight up for him to stand straight up. And I had him like semi-kneeling just so he'd stand upright, and that kind of worked, but it really impeded on the size. His claw is really, really freaking massive. I mean, yeah, you can still do that, but and kind of simulate him talking. All these guys, like, and mouths still move no matter what mode they're combined into. Did he ever do this guy at a human scale? Because that would be really interesting. I mean, yeah, Toradoragonjin is great. I kind of prefer him split into his individual robot forms as opposed to this, because a lot less flaws to worry about. But hey, he still looks neat. I don't have an issue with that. Just, I don't know. He's, yeah, especially messing with the arms too much, that pops out. Those clips are not very strong. I've actually popped this one out trying to get him to move. Like, not a bad combo. It's just they're better separately, if in my personal opinion. And I usually have him split up. He's neat. He's about a solid 7 in this form. Excuse me. Toradora is about, I'd say, an 8.5. Oni Taijin just gets a perfect 10 out of 10 because his combined mode, his individual modes leave a little bit to be desired, but Oni Taijin, perfect. I mean, yeah, helmet's neat. I like how they tried to at least, add something to every aspect of the combination, but I don't know, man. He's just way better in his individual robot forms than this. It's like, he really didn't. Like, I don't think that they should have not combined, and this form is still good, but it could be a little bit better. I'm not sure what else to add. It's just that I felt like I should add some kind of rating to him. And this has been Sora Donald Goofy 99. I will catch you all later. Peace.